Hi everyone, welcome to Eve Talks It All. This podcast video medium is part of the TV Socialites Podcast Network. My other creative half, Charlie, is currently doing Did You Miss Me? A Pretty Little Buffy pod, where she talks about Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Pretty Little Liars Season 1 for both shows concurrently. I join her on quite a few of those episodes. She will be joining the audio side of my podcast as we cover certain things. But on the video side, it's going to be just me, and I will be talking about TV, movies, books, music, whatever, whenever. And it's just a matter of the way that I talk about stuff is probably not going to change massively. I still talk a certain way to you guys when it comes to things. It's just more of a how I brand things. So obviously I'm not getting rid of bookish content completely because I do want to talk about books, but ultimately I want to get rid of a few things and just do it my way. So basically how it's going to go going forward is that I don't want to do monthly wrap-ups anymore, and I don't want to be doing monthly book hauls or TBRs or anything like that. I'm no longer going to be doing EVATs to her Amazon TBR, whatever. I'm not going to be doing that just because I just find, yeah, it's a low effort video, but at the same time I don't really enjoy doing them, and I think that translates. And what I will be doing instead, so it is a bit jumbled now because obviously we're already in May now that I'm doing this rebrand of sorts. So I will release 3 videos for the rest of the year. So now it'll be like middle to end of May I'll release this one, then the next one I'll release sometime in August, September, and then the last one I'll release sometime in December. And that's going to be like a quarterly check-in. So I will walk you through my favorite books of that time that I read. So just my favorites. I won't be talking about any like 1 stars, 2 stars, whatever, any books that were just okay. I will be talking about like 4 stars and above, books that left a great impression on me and why. And then another part of the video, I will show you books that I purchased in that time that I still haven't read. So let's say if I purchased a book and I read it immediately, then I'm not going to show you that book again. And then the last part is going to be, I will just talk you through my reading reflections, what I learned about myself as a reader in the past quarter, and what I hope to gain from reading for myself and for this channel going forward. So I know that wrap-ups, hauls, TBRs, and all that, they gain a lot of traction for booktubers, but since I wouldn't really call myself a booktuber per se, I'm more like a mixed, I would say technically this is like a video podcast, which sounds weird, but like the way I'm doing it, some episodes I explained in my last video, some episodes will be just on audio, some episodes will be just on video, so I will keep my book content as a video form, but in a way this is like a one medium, but split into 2 ways of expressing it, visual and audio, only to just allow myself to express what I want to say in different ways, basically. So I hope that makes sense. So yeah, this is just how I want to do book content, how I find it enjoyable, and I'm aiming to be more tactical in terms of author deep dives, themed recommendations lists, or some kind of maybe like tier rankings based on certain tropes or something like that. Basically, that is going to be what I'm working towards. But without any further ado, because I've been ranting on for 4 minutes, I just feel like I need to keep reiterating stuff for a little bit until it kicks in that this is what's happening. So we are going to get straight into my favorite books of the first quarter, from January till, well, now till like beginning of May, so like a bit over the first quarter of 2026. So let's go. So I got some selections here. You probably heard me talk about some of these, but I did delete those videos just to keep my absolute favorites and to just sort out the branding. I don't regret deleting them because I was kind of phoning it in a little bit in some of those videos. So anyway, the first book that I really loved this year was What Have You Done by Shari Lapina. This author has always been great success for me. This one is a thriller about a teenage girl found in a cornfield, brutally murdered, and it shakes up a small town. Of course, naturally, barely anything happens there, so everyone's extremely concerned. There's a killer wandering on the loose. Who could it be? And a lot of the book is the investigation, finding out how these different people in the small town were connected to this girl. And as always, Shari Lapina does it again. It's I would say it's suspenseful in its own way. Obviously, I always say that investigative thrillers where it's a detective's POV is not really massively my cup of tea. It's definitely one of my least favorite tropes, but how Shari Lapina does it differently, she does it, the detective POV, just from like a small angle. It's just like a few chapters, but those chapters are always connected with the people actually deeply affected by the story. People connected to the character who's missing or murdered and whatnot. And I think that makes a difference, as opposed to, oh, it's just this detective and we get 10 chapters about their personal life before we even get into the case. And those books have their place for some people, but that's never been my forte. So basically what I'm saying is that I did guess the killer in this book, but that wasn't the case of, oh, I thought it was predictable in that sense. I just picked up the details that were already there, and I thought that it made a lot of sense, and I don't mind being proven right, is what I'm saying. I'd rather have a story that makes logical sense rather than something completely random just to say, oh yeah, I was shocked. I just think that, doesn't need much explaining. There was this thing that had, it's not a spoiler, but it had POV from the girl who was murdered as she was observing people investigating, and it's not really some kind of an omniscient POV. She doesn't remember who killed her, so she's kind of just watching things unfold. And personally, I know some people have said that it detracted from their enjoyment of the book because this author has never attempted something like that before, and they said that it felt like a bit of a knockoff of Ask for Andrea. And I thought didn't really add anything for me personally, but it didn't really detract either. So I was like, okay, well, that makes sense. I mean, she was trying something new, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. So yeah, I would definitely recommend if you're looking for a small town, bit of investigative, bit of suspenseful story. And then I have a book that I think about at least once a week since I read it, and this is Make Me Famous by Maud Ventura, the author of My Husband, which I still need to read. I've been putting it off because someone spoiled it for me, and I don't think they meant to spoil it, but obviously I'm not gonna rush to read a book that I know what happens. So basically this book is set from Cleo's POV. She's this celebrity who is taking a holiday on a deserted island. Like, she purchased the whole island for this holiday, and she's just living off the grid, trying to pluck inspiration for her 4th studio album, and she is just reflecting on her life. I mean, barely any book is actually focusing on her time on this island. A lot of it starts immediately from her story as a little girl to her stardom and then beyond. It's very kind of almost like a epistolary in a way, but I guess without the character realizing that she's doing it. Cleo is definitely a really horrible person, and being in her head and reading through her POV is really exhausting. Like, I remember having to take breaks because I was actually so exhausted being in this character's mind, but at the same time, she's also really captivating, and you want to know what happens. So it's kind of like you're in the mind of a narcissist who has both inferiority and superiority complex and lots of insecurities, but she also thinks that she is God's gift to Green Earth. So lots of contradictions. I think that her character was inspired by quite a few celebrities that were actually name dropped in this book, but I think that they were also inspired. Like, this character was inspired by them. I'm not gonna say anything, but I definitely saw a lot of the same things on different subreddits, on snark subreddits, the fans pointing out this sort of behavior, and I'm like, yeah. I mean, I enjoy books about fame. I enjoy books that explore fame, explore different things that fame can do to your head and how you start treating people, because I think in general celebrity culture sometimes can get a little bit out of hand. We can definitely forget that these are still people, and in a way it's kind of curated so that we do, so it's not even exactly our fault, but in a way it kind of goes into this weird parasocial worship that is not healthy. But yeah, I was reading and enjoying some character exploration, and then a random thriller style twist hit me in the back of my head, and like I said, I haven't been able to stop thinking about it since. Like, I genuinely still think about this book, and I thought it was so amazing, and definitely so far probably in my top 5 if not top 3 favorite books of the year. Then I have How to Survive a Horror Story by Mallory Arnold. This features I believe it was 6 horror authors and then a mystery author that's not really published or established yet, so she's kind of like an odd one out. And all these people are really different archetypes of characters, and you have them come to this deceased writer's home for dinner, and it's that trope where they come in for dinner and they think they're gonna get something out of it, but they realize, oh shit, actually we're in trouble because somehow we pissed off this person and now they want our heads, basically, because the house is alive and the house wants to eat them. I think this is what sets this book apart from all the others of this trope, because it's a really great mixture of a whodunit mystery that actually involves lots of problem solving, like Agatha Christie style, where, you know, you have to rack your brain a little bit and think about like Sherlock Holmes and all that as well. And it's a mixture of that and also supernatural horror that features all these things that it's not a mixture of genres that you see often, I don't think, but it really makes a lot of sense in this book. Weirdly, it just adds something different to it that I've not really seen. I think that the fact that it's this author's first book, I'm really looking forward to her other work. I've said it already in the videos that I deleted, but she's releasing this book that's basically John Tucker Must Die, but with actual murder, so obviously I'm gonna be there immediately. As far as this book goes, I think that, I mean, I was really rooting for some characters to die, but I don't think that's a bad thing. It really kept you guessing. It really kept you thinking on your toes, like, what is true, what is not. It was a good time. It is a bit long, I would say. It's 400 pages, which for some people, you could say like a thriller or a horror, it's a bit long if it reaches that point, but I didn't really feel it. I thought that everything made sense and everything was well planned out and well paced. And then I got a book that I can't say much about because it's a third book in the series, and that is Deadhead by C.J. Scoose. This is, again, book 3 of Sweet Pea series, serial killer Rhiannon Lewis, who, well, again, I can't really say what happens, because if you haven't read the first or the second book, it'll be spoilers, but basically this book opens up right where the second book ends, and Rhiannon is in a different situation that she has to get out of somehow, some way, and I had my doubts when I started this one because the start of it is a bit slow. I would say that it took a little bit for it to kick off, but once it did, I was floored. I thought, what the hell is going on? I don't understand anything, but I'm excited, I'm ready. So it definitely didn't disappoint. I would say that obviously the first one's still the best one objectively for me, but I preferred this one to the second one purely because I just feel like a bit more actually happened. But obviously the second one is essential for Rhiannon's character development and setting everything up, so obviously I enjoyed all of the books, but if I had to rank them so far, this would be my second favorite, and then the second book in the series would be my last, but it was still a 5-star. I have more books. All of those were in January, so now we're kind of like February, March, and then the last stack's going to be like April, the first half of May, so it kind of worked out. So the next one is My Husband's Wife by Alice Feeney. I have bought this in this year in the first quarter or so, and I read it immediately with my friend Charlie. We buddy read it together, and this is about a woman who goes out for a run and she comes back home, but she realizes that she can't get into her own house, and the woman who looks just like her opens a door and says, "Who are you? I am who you're claiming to be, and you're trying to break into my house." And her husband, the main character's husband, backs up the story and says, "Yeah, I don't know who you are. This is my wife." So, it sounds like a completely crazy and unlightish concept, and there were some things in this book that definitely seemed a bit, I was like, what is gonna happen? Where is this gonna go? And it was crazy. It absolutely kept me guessing. I did guess some twists, and I'm proud of that. Some stuff still caught me a bit off guard. I would say it is very... I mean, so far it's definitely my favorite Alice Feeney book, because I think that, yeah, Daisy Darker, retroactively, I would rank it like a 3.5 maybe, and then Rock, Paper, Scissors probably like a 4. I would say I kind of swapped them around ultimately, but yeah, this one is a clear favorite because it was just so fun. Honestly, I wasn't really thinking, I just needed to know what happened, and it flew by really quickly. So if you're looking for those type of thrillers where you're happy to turn your brain off and stop picking at things and just enjoy yourself, then this one is definitely for you. Then I have Rumored by Kelly and Christina Mancaruso, and this is about a pop star who is accused of murder. And I mean, don't we all think that half the celebrities probably have bodies in their basements? Allegedly. I'm not accusing anyone, but you know, you look at a celebrity and you think, yeah, if something comes out about you, I'm not going to be that surprised. You know, we have those thoughts. Let's not lie to ourselves. But yeah, look how pretty this is. I just feel like it's so pretty. But anyway, so we have an investigative journalist who takes up this case to report to the magazine that she works at. And I'm not gonna lie, I had some doubts about this book as I was going in, because obviously investigative stuff, like I said, you know how I feel about it. But I thought, okay, it's not a detective, it's more like journalism, and obviously writing, getting pieces ready, and talking about music and stuff. I thought, okay, surely this will be something up my alley. And again, this cover color combo is amazing. I'm a magpie. If the cover's pretty, chances are I will give it a go. But anyway, what I was gonna say is that I would say the first third of it is kind of an investigation, and then something happens that is, like, it's personal to the main character, right? And that kind of leads the second third of this book to become some kind of a bit of an unhinged, obsessive female, almost like female rage sort of thing, where the main character goes a bit cuckoo. And then the third part, the last third of this book even, is just some of the craziest shit that I've read in a thriller ever. Like, it's insane. I did not expect any of it. And I still sometimes think, wait, yeah, if I had to think, 10 craziest plot twists ever in a thriller, this would definitely make that list. And I do want to make that list for you guys as like a recommendations, themed recommendations, some of the craziest twists. But obviously it is hard to do things like that without spoiling the book, so of course, you know, that would be spoiler free. But ultimately, yeah, it is crazy. I just think that, again, you need to go with an open mind and not overthink it too much, and not be like one of those people, well, it's not really logical that this is happening. I know it's a thriller, but I'm literally looking for logic, like I'm reading a science book, and I'm like, okay, just have fun with it. Because if you are willing to have fun with it, it will have fun with you, and it will fuck up your brain. And you'll be thinking about it for the next 6 months. So then I have a little bit of a different direction. I have Adelaide by Genevieve Wheeler. This is a sad girl, contemporary, lit ficky sort of book. I mean, the cover's gorgeous. It's about a woman who, she gets admitted to the hospital after thinking about ending her own life. and she kind of tries to figure out how the hell she got to that point. And I'm not gonna lie, I was expecting when reading it ends with a situation where the abuse that she endured from her partner was very obvious, something very graphically physical, but it was not anything like that. It was more like a quiet, uncaring, sort of constant comparisons to your ex, constantly making you feel unimportant, all the little effort things that, like, basically all the small things that eventually amount to something big. Like, for example, again, it's not a big spoiler to the plotline, but for example, her partner, he once took a week to respond, even though he was always on his phone while they were out. Or he took her to somewhere for her birthday. And again, that's not like a major plot point, like spoiler-wise, but he forgot to make a booking for the spa so that she could actually get the birthday massage that he promised, and he just ended up rubbing her back in the hotel, and she thought it wasn't that hard to make the booking, was it? But she bit her tongue. It's like those sort of things, that constant little things that make you question your own reality. Like, am I crazy for thinking that this is minimum effort and that I deserve better? That eventually wears you down. And it's definitely an accessible writing, and I wouldn't say that the topic is enjoyable, but it's definitely immersive. It read quickly. I read it in 2 sittings, even though it is on the thicker side. It made me sad, but at the same time it also felt in a way quite healing. And again, the cover is gorgeous and the color combo and everything. So I just felt like I read it at the right time and I got the most that I could get out of it, basically. And then another book that is quite dark, but in a whole different way, back to the thrillers, we have Pretty Girls by Karen Slaughter. This is a very chunky, heavy edition, and it's almost as heavy as the content. I feel like most of BookTube or YouTubers that talk about books, they know this book, but I mean, it was definitely worth the hype, but at the same time, I never want to read this book ever again. I had to skip some parts because of how graphic it was, and I just thought, like, I don't want those graphic things seared into my brain and imagining them, like, while I'm reading, because obviously I'm imagining stuff as I read what happens and all that. I don't want to do that. It's about 2 sisters, and they've been estranged for years, decades even, and one of their husbands dies, and she realizes that he may have been part of a human trafficking ring, and it just opens this whole Pandora's box that completely unravels everything that they think they've ever known about each other and the husband and everything. And it's definitely extremely dark, extremely triggering. It has one of the best portrayals of sisterhood relationship that I've ever seen, though, and I think that if you can stomach the contents, it is worth reading, but at the same time, don't read it just for the sake of being disturbed, because you will be. And like I said, I would never read this again. And it's kind of a hard book to recommend because of the contents. But if you can, then please do read it, because I don't think you'll. And then the last 5 books that I have to talk about. The first one is She Started It by Sean Gilbert. I'm not pronouncing it right. So this is another thriller of super unlikable characters, a group of friends that you think, how the hell are you even friends? And these 4 women, they get invited to a bachelorette on a private island by a girl that they bullied in high school. And immediately you're thinking, wait, why are you going then? What do you think is going to happen? Well, shit goes down, of course. And again, this is definitely the perfect book if you're looking for something easy, bingeable, lots of unlikable characters that you can't wait to see dead just because they're that unlikable. And I would say that this thriller actually surprised me a lot because I did not expect the twist, one of the twists anyway. I did not expect that at all, so it did surprise me, and definitely elevated it because it turned out to be darker than I imagined. But overall, I think that if you're looking to have something to root against, so like root against these characters' survival, then this is definitely a great book for that. And obviously it doesn't hurt to have some atmosphere of a Bahamas island. Bachelor gone wrong. I mean, say no more. I'm there. I'm happy. Then I have The Soulmate by Sally Hepworth. This is about a married couple who live on like a cliff, the moors, whatever you want to call it. And this cliff is known to be a spot for people to end their lives. And the husband of the family has actually become accustomed to talking people down until one night, the wife sees a woman on this cliff and her husband rushes out to talk to her, and it kind of looks like he pushed her. But obviously she doesn't tell that to the police, yet keeps thinking, but what does this mean? What is happening? And I think that my rating for this book really is established by the fact that I knew what I was going into, because I've seen some people on BookTube expecting some really fast-paced thriller, you know, boom, 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 and this is definitely more of a domestic suspense drama with some thriller elements, I would say. A lot of character exploration, which is what Sally is good at. And since I knew that going in, I was able to rank it accordingly and enjoy it accordingly. So I feel like sometimes knowing at least the tone of the book you're going into will definitely help you to enjoy it better, or say this is actually not for me. But yeah, it doesn't touch Darling Girls. That's definitely still my all-time favorite of Sally's out of the three I read, including this one. But this is a close second, I would say. Well, I gave it a 4-star, so, you know, how close? 5-star, 4-star, but you get what I mean. Like, this comes next after that. And I'm looking forward to reading more of her work. And then I have Maybe in Another Life by Taylor Jenkins Reid, a romance contemporary. I'm just making my list through her backlog. I don't have many left now. Actually, I think I have only 3, but 2 of them I need to buy, so fuck knows when I'm gonna get to do that. But anyway, so this is kind of, it's basically like a bit of a magical realism book, but without the magic being acknowledged like a plot thing in universe. And what I mean is, we have the main character, Hannah, who is moving back to her hometown. She's struggling to settle down anywhere and hold a job and whatnot, and she comes back, and basically what we do, we get 2 paths. She makes a decision one night, and we get to experience both of those decisions play out concurrently, chapter for one decision, chapter for another, and we get to question, are certain things just meant to be, or certain things not meant to turn out a certain way, or like even if you make different choices, certain things will happen no matter what, sort of thing. You know, it really makes you think. And maybe don't read this if you have an existential crisis about every choice that you've ever made in your life, but ultimately I did really enjoy it. I did knock off half a star. It was a 4.5 because of the amount of Cinnabons were mentioned. Like, we all have a Cinnabon. You'd be crazy not to. If you don't like Cinnabons, you are a crazy person. JK, but not really. And as much as we all love them, they're not a personality trait, and it got to the point where they were mentioned pretty much every other page, so I was like, okay, that's a bit overkill. But apart from that, I mean, some bits of the dialogue, obviously, it's elevated reality, right? This is a romance book, whatever, so obviously some dialogue has to sound a bit more than how you would speak in real life, but it got to the point a little bit in a few passages where it was like, okay, even for elevated reality book, this is a little too much in terms of the dialogue. It was more when some characters were monologuing while the other person was just standing there staring at them. I just thought to myself, that doesn't really happen in real life. And obviously, I think if it were just a couple of times, but it happened a few too many times. And yeah, so basically that's why I knocked off half a star for these things. Then another Taylor Jenkins read is Atmosphere. Charlie and I didn't necessarily buddy read it at the same time, but she read it and then I read it, I think, a week or two after she finished it, so we still shared our thoughts. This is about the first female astronaut cohort for NASA, and our main character falls in love with another woman on the cohort, and we also have a flash forward of a situation gone terribly wrong where this woman that she loves has to save everyone, or at least herself. And yeah, I mean, honestly, I would say that for me, this one is not top favorite by this author purely because I find acting or music a bit more personally impactful than space stuff. So Daisy Jones and Evelyn Hugo would be kind of like sharing the first spot, I guess. Or, you know, I don't think I can pick between them two, so if they're sharing the first spot, this would be number 2, number 3, whatever. But either way, this is a really amazing book with kind of like a bittersweet touch, and I would say, you know, she really knows how to write a sapphic love story between two women. I mean, she's done it before in Evelyn Hugo, but at the same time, this one, it really has lots of, like, it doesn't feel like she's just recycling the same tropes, and she explores different character relationships. There's a lot of familial stuff. This book has one of my least liked book characters of all time. Fuck you, Barbara. She talks so much about space and as far as I know, it's quite well researched about. And there's just so much love for knowledge, for life, and for being interested in things. And again, there's just lots of love for love itself, you know, familial love, romantic love, friendship love. And yeah, it's a really beautiful book, and I think that I could say a lot more and probably still not do it justice, but yeah, it's definitely up there for top books of the year. And the last one, I have Count My Lies by Sophie Stava. This is another Bitch, I'm Gonna Steal Your Life thriller. We have Sloane. She is hanging out at this park and she notices a girl has a bee sting in her leg, and she lies that she's a nurse and helps the girl and gets things from her dad, who she's immediately smitten by, and it just kind of goes from there. Basically, Sloane is a pathological liar, and she wants to be integrated into this rich family who she thinks have it all, except they don't. And yeah, so this was a really fun read. I did get a little bit, like, I felt a little bit of a dip kind of like down the middle just because we had a POV change, and I just don't think that this particular character, like, I didn't really love her POV for a lot of the time. It took me a while to pick it back up, but yeah, overall, because of the whole picture, I ended up giving it a 4.5, but I just had to take half a star for that. But if you're looking for an unhinged thriller that unapologetically hits you over the head, this is definitely the one. So we're done with that. These are my favorite books of the quarter. So now books that I purchased that I've not read yet. Right, so I don't actually have that many because I have not been buying as many because of money, and I accumulated so many from charity shop hauls and library sale hauls and all of that stuff that I thought, you know, I still need to be sensible. But there is still a nice pile, and there's a few downstairs that I'm gonna get. But for now, let's just have a look. So as far as fantasy, I only have one that my fiance gifted me for my birthday. So it's Catabases by R.F. Kuang. This is, from what I hear, about 2 students who are doing magic who are competing for their mentor's affections in hell. I'm probably not describing it well at all, but again, hard to describe a book that you've not read, and obviously I don't want to just read the synopsis because you guys can do that with your own time. I'm sure you don't need me to do that for you, but yeah, I mean, look how pretty this is. I've been informed that there's some animal cruelty in this book, so I'm definitely gonna have a look at the trigger warnings. But yeah, overall it looks like a gorgeous book, and I'm excited to read it. Don't know when. I'm thinking not to be that person who reads seasonally, that's the word. But I think maybe sometime towards the autumn. I just think that fantasy definitely fits better for autumn and winter rather than summer time. Then I have some horror ebooks, I guess you could say so. Bridge by Lauren Bukes. This is described as genre bending. I got it from a library sale. It was actually the only one I found that was already on my list, so I got it. And this is about a woman who just lost her mom, and she finds some kind of a getaway bridge that she thinks maybe could lead her back to it. Again, I'm not exactly sure, but people say it's like more like a bit of a horror, but also like a bit of sci-fi, a bit of like almost like transgressive elements. I don't know, but overall, it should be fun. I mean, either way, it was 50p, so even if I don't like it, not the end of the world. Then I got Mr. Magic by Kirsten White. This was recommended to me by Charlie like tons and tons of times. So about a cast of a children's show that like horrible things happened on set that shut down the production, and it's now them decades later trying to piece together what happened. So a little bit of you know, media, a little bit of cinema, a little bit of monsters. I mean, it's described as It Meets the Stepford Wives, so we'll see. I mean, I've never read the book because it's over 1,000 pages, and that is scary. I mean, almost scarier than what actually happens in the book. But I've seen both the 1990 miniseries starring Tim Curry and the new, what was it, 2017, the first part, 2019, the second part. I've seen both of those. And I tried the Welcome to Derry prequel, but I hated the opening scene, so I started laughing and also being grossed out, and then I turned it off. Well, ultimately, yeah, so Stepford Wives is one of my favorite books ever. So, yeah, I should have a good time, and I trust my friends' recommendations. Then I have a couple of slashers. I have 20th Anniversary Screening by Jeff Strand. This is about a fan who tried to recreate killings of their favorite movie, and then it just goes sideways at the 20th anniversary screening. Again, it's described as a horror comedy, so I'm expecting almost like Scream vibes or something. But yeah, should be a good time, I reckon. It's only 90 pages, so to be fair, I could probably read it in an hour, if that. Then I got Disco Death Trap by Cameron Robiquet. It's the same person who did Cotton Candy Massacre. This one is about a group of teens who go to a disco on New Year's Eve and start getting picked off one by one again. Just a perfect time. 80s disco. What's not to love? I mean, honestly, I just think that I'm gonna have a good time with this. I don't see why I wouldn't, because it's something that's right up my alley. Then I have some thrillers. So I got Jar of Hearts by Jennifer Hillier. It's an author that I really wanted to try for a while, and I found this in charity shop. I mean, I'm not loving how small print, like the size of the book itself, but can't knock £2 price in decent condition, no broken spines, no stains or anything. So this is, from what I gather and from what other people describe, like from the synopsis, like it's a really detailed synopsis. Basically, our main character's best friend went missing and was later found dead, and everyone believed that the main character's boyfriend did it, and that she was also kind of responsible. And it's just kind of fallout from that. So I heard that this author's books are really dark, like almost like Karen Slaughter dark. So I think I'm gonna need to be in the right state of mind to read this. So who knows when that's gonna be. Then I got The Mad Wife by Megan Church. This is kind of another one of those trad wife suspense elements. I mean, it is about a woman who gave birth to her second child, and she found her life unraveling with just constantly being at home with the kids. So she kind of starts fixating on her neighbor to an unhealthy degree. So yeah, I'm expecting some interesting developments, and I do want to read it soon. I do want to read this one soon. Then I have Ask for Andrea by Noelle W. Eiley. No, that can't be right. What is right? I don't know. And this one is, again, recommended by Charlie, a really dark thriller that follows a serial killer who killed at least three girls, and we follow their POVs from beyond the grave as they watch over him, try to get him caught. And again, I was told to not pick this one up if I don't want to be devastated, so I have to be, again, in the right set of mind to read this, but I do wanna, and it is pretty short as well. I do want to read more of this author's work, which is why I bought it, and I thought I might as well just start, where it hurts, and then move on to something a bit more fun. Then I got Haven't They Grown by Sophie Hannah. This is a thriller about a woman notices that this family in their neighborhood, their children haven't aged a day in 12 years or something like that. And it's really weird, and she kind of just involves herself in it. And I know immediately, I know from someone's review that it doesn't go down the supernatural route, so I'm really interested to see what happens instead. I don't think I read one book by this author and I didn't love it, so this is kind of like my second chance, basically. And then I got a couple of cozy dog-related things, because dogs are life. So I got The Dog Sitter Detective, which is basically a dog sitter who goes to a wedding and there's a murder and she is solving it with her dogs. What's not to love? And then The Dog Share. It's about two lonely people who decide to share a dog. And of course, they're gonna end up falling in love because that's just how it is. But yeah, I don't have much to say about those, but I am excited to read them. And yeah, let's just have a look at the last few, and then we're nearly done. Right, so the last few books, I literally just have 3. So I got Magnolia Park's The Long Way Home by Jessa Hastings, and this is literally just book 3 in the Magnolia Park series. I think that's actually, at the time of filming this on May 18th, it's going to be my next read, just because I really fancy just sinking my teeth into something super trashy. And then I'll let you know how I feel about that. But yeah, that's all I can say, really, because obviously I don't want to spoil the first 2 books. And then I got Meet the Newmans by Jennifer Niven. And, I mean, look at how gorgeous. This cost me £9. I mean, stunning. Perfect. So this is kind of like a contemporary suspense that's set in the 60s about this family that get observed at on a sitcom, and it kind of becomes their life. Think a little bit like The Truman Show, not as extreme, but then things start happening and they start not wanting to be a part of it. But yeah, we will see. But yeah, it's definitely going to be lots of family dynamics. I assume lots of who wants to be a part of the show, who doesn't want to be a part of it anymore, because from what I gather from their synopsis, the main character, the mother, is trying to keep them together so they could keep doing it, but they don't want to do it like the rest of the family. So yeah, we'll see. And then the last one I have is Whatever Happened to Madeline Stone by Louise O'Neill. She writes such dark and bleak books, honestly. I remember asking for it. I don't have it, but I read it, and then I have Only Ever Yours that I read, and both of those books had such bleak endings, and I wonder if this is going to follow that trend. So this is about, it's basically 2 sisters. They are starring in a children's sitcom, and one of them gets like a career break in catapulting opportunity of a lifetime, while the other sister gets pushed aside. And just as the lucky sister's life seems to fall into place, the other sister disappears. And then it's 20-something years later, the lucky sister has quit acting, retired, but then it seems that just as she's about to kind of like, get over, process, move past things, she finds the storage locker that has details on her sister, and as she gets closer to the truth, certain things about the past are revealed and all that. So yeah, I think that this one will be really interesting. I don't even know. It was kind of like categorized as like a contemporary with some thriller elements. I don't know. For now it's next to my contemporary books, but we'll see where I feel like it belongs in my personal library organization after I'm done reading it, which, well, we'll see. I need to get better at actually not being afraid to read new releases, like not feeling like I have to wait and clear out my backlog and just read what I want to read, which actually segues into the last section. So what have I learned as a reader from my favorites, from stuff I bought? Well, I would say that I've definitely got comfortable with not having to buy lots of books just to keep up for content, and also just to I've gotten better at feeling like that need for instant dopamine rush by buying books. It doesn't control me, because I feel like the past few months have been really weird and difficult personally, and if I followed every instinct to get a dopamine hit, I'd be drowning in even more debt with random books that fuck knows what I'm gonna read. So I feel like I've still retained a fairly targeted approach when it comes to book buy-in. I'm still gonna treat myself, of course, I'm not gonna deprive myself of everything, but I think that it definitely makes me feel better knowing that for the most part, I'm still weeding some stuff out, but for the most part, these books, the ones that I showed you, the ones that are still on my shelves unread, are the books that I actually want to read, the books that I do want to explore. And if I get to the point where I look at a book and I think, why are you on my shelf? I don't want to read you. Then that book is going to go. It's just how it's going to be. But yeah, I become more targeted. And then I've become, I would say that I definitely know what I want in books. And it's an ever-evolving thing. I would say that we always evolve as readers. I think discovering things we like, we don't like, but at the moment, I really know what I want, and I really know how to get what I want. I know what authors I want to try. I know what authors I don't want to try anymore. I know what tropes I'm looking for. I would say that I definitely haven't read much horror this year, as you notice, like pretty much I would say all of these books, actually, my favorites, are either thrillers or some kind of contemporary lit-ficky books. And I definitely want to read more horror this year. I read a fair bit last year, but actually I think I only read 1 or 2 horror this year, and they didn't really pan out. So I do want to bring that back, because horror's my favorite film genre. So I do want to bring that into my books. Some more. So I do just want to discover a few more favorite horror authors and just see where that leads me, try out their backlog and all that. And I do just want to keep discovering books thriller wise, like different. I feel like there's still some tropes and authors that I need to find. I do want to clear out my contemporary like lit-ficky shelf a bit more, and just sort of like discover what exactly is it in a lit-fic that I'm looking for right now, how much of it I want to read, what sort I want to read, stuff like that. I do want to sort that out. But yeah, I think that is it for now. This is definitely one of the lengthier videos, but a check-in is on all accounts. So I hope you liked it, and if you read any of these, whether it's from the wrap-up of like my favorites or of the book haul, just if you read, do share your opinions. If you have anything to recommend, please do, and I hope to see you next